There are places that breathe evil, places where the walls whisper terrible secrets and the shadows hide something more than just the absence of light. My grandmother's house was one of those places. Hi everyone, I'm Your Name, and today I'm going to share a childhood experience that haunts me to this day. A story that goes beyond fear, a story about the malevolent presence that inhabited my late grandmother's house. In this video, I'm going to delve into the depths of the terror I experienced, the unexplainable sensations, and the supernatural entity that I'm sure was watching me. Brace yourselves, because what I'm about to tell you is not for the faint of heart. But before I reveal the terrifying encounter I had, I need to paint a grim picture of that house, a place where evil seemed to seep into every corner. The weight of the house, an abyss of lost souls. My grandmother's house was an old building, with long hallways that seemed to stretch into infinite darkness. The floorboards creaked underfoot, as if complaining about our presence. The air was heavy, cold, even in the summer, and a constant smell of mildew permeated the environment, mixed with an unexplainable odor, almost like decaying flesh, that came and went without explanation. The house was a reflection of the tragedies that befell my family. My grandfather, consumed by Alzheimer's, wandered the rooms like a ghost, with an empty gaze and fits of rage that terrified everyone. My grandmother, exhausted, tried to maintain some order, but her eyes carried the weight of unspeakable suffering. My mother, a single and overburdened parent, struggled to survive. And I, a child lost in the midst of all this, felt the weight of that sadness like a suffocating blanket. The most terrifying story was that of the woman brutally murdered in that house decades ago. It was said that her body had been dismembered and hidden within the walls. Her spirit, thirsty for revenge, remained there, trapped between worlds, and was the source of all the evil phenomena. Dark figures moved in the corners of my eyes. Voices whispered my name in menacing tones, and objects moved on their own, crashing to the floor. I remember once, while climbing the stairs, feeling icy hands push me hard, almost making me fall. I tried to convince myself that it was all imagination, a product of fear and stories. But deep down, I knew there was something evil in that house. And one day that evil revealed itself to me in a terrifying way. The morning of terror, an encounter with the entity. I remember that day as if it were yesterday. A bad omen hung in the air, as if time itself were twisting in fear. I was reluctant to stay in the house, but there was no choice. I was left alone, and the silence was deafening, broken only by the ominous creaks of the house. I locked myself in my cousin's room, seeking refuge in the dim light of the television. But the feeling of being watched was intense. A glacial chill took over the room, and the air became heavy, difficult to breathe. That's when I heard it. Steps, slow, heavy, ascending the stairs. They weren't ordinary steps. They dragged, as if something devoid of vital force was struggling to climb. A shiver ran down my spine. Terror paralyzed me. In a desperate impulse, I ran to lock the door, as if that thin layer of wood could protect me from whatever was out there. My hands were shaking so much that I could barely turn the key. The steps stopped at the top of the stairs. A deadly silence followed, and then they started again, now in the hallway, approaching the room. Each step resonated like a blow to my heart. I could feel the malevolent presence on the other side of the door, as if it were sniffing me out, sensing my fear. I threw myself on the bed, pulling the covers over my head, as if that could make me invisible. And then the knocking began, loud, violent. The door shook under the blows. A voice, hoarse and guttural, whispered my name from the other side, in a tone that mixed mockery and the promise of pain. I felt my whole body tremble, and a scream of terror got stuck in my throat. Time dragged on like an eternity. The knocking continued, interspersed with the whispering of my name and low, cruel laughter. I prayed. I begged for it to end, feeling my sanity slipping away with each passing second. Suddenly, the knocking stopped. I heard my grandmother's voice calling my name, and the sound seemed to come from far away. I hesitated, terrified, but finally I mustered the courage to get out from under the covers. I opened the door, trembling, and threw myself into my grandmother's arms, sobbing. I never told anyone what really happened that day. The fear that the entity would return, even more furious, silenced me. I kept that terror within me, like a dark secret that haunted me in my nightmares. A malevolent entity in the house. The theory of the attached house and the neighbor climbing the stairs simply doesn't fit. The sounds I heard were different, charged with a malevolence that transcended the physical. The cold, the smell, the voice, the knocking. Everything pointed to something much more sinister. I believe that my grandmother's house was a portal to evil, a place where negative energy accumulated over the years, fueled by the tragedies and suffering of our family. The story of the murdered woman was not just a legend. It was the key to understanding the nature of the entity. Her spirit, corrupted by the violence of her death, became a conduit for dark forces, attracting and amplifying the evil in the place. What I encountered that day was not just the ghost of the woman, but something else. An entity that fed on fear, pain, and despair. It manifested itself through the spirit of the woman, using her tragic story as a veil for its own evil existence. My cousin, more sensitive to the supernatural, continued to have terrifying experiences in that house. She described the same feeling of being watched, the same whispers, and the presence of an entity that terrorized her at night. She even reported seeing the figure of a woman with empty eyes and a cruel smile standing at the foot of her bed. To me, the house itself became a living organism, breathing evil, attracting and imprisoning lost souls, a place where the past and the present merged in an endless cycle of terror. The terror I experienced in that house shaped who I am. Even today, I feel a chill when I pass by old houses or hear unexplained noises at night. The memory of that malevolent presence never completely leaves me. For me, the experience was irrefutable proof of the existence of the supernatural. I know there's something else out there, in the shadows, watching, waiting for the opportunity to manifest. Fear, as terrifying as it is a warning, a sign that we are facing something we don't understand, something that can hurt us. We must respect fear, for it can be the key to our survival. I invite you to reflect on your own experiences with the unexplained. Have you ever felt a malevolent presence? Have you ever come across something that defies logic? Share your stories in the comments, because shared terror is, in a way, less terrifying. Thank you for joining me on this dark journey. Remember, evil lurks in places we can't even imagine, and sometimes it finds us. Sleep well, if you can. If you liked this video and want to delve even deeper into the world of terror, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and give it a like. And remember to share this video with those who also appreciate a good spine-chilling story. Until next time, and may the shadows protect you, or not.